Good morning. It is 4:57, and thank goodness the week is over and weekend begins. Austria is in a total lockdown, which is going to be very funny for the next 4 weeks. And I thought I talk about a few things, nothing very specific or so. Maybe I talk about different kinds of meditation or something like that. But first off, I have no Tulsi tea anymore, so I have to switch to grapefruit juice. I can't drink coffee in the morning, just not good for my stomach. But anyway, so I wanted to talk about Damien Echols. If anybody knows, there was a documentary, a 3-part documentary in the 90s, in the early 90s. They are called Paradise Lost 1, Paradise Lost 2, and the 3rd part. And it's about 3 teenagers in Arkansas. And I don't know if many people have seen that, but it's still kind of, I've seen it a few times, but I still can't make my mind up about that. What happened there? They supposedly were indicted in court for the ritual murders of 3 children, and one of them was like 16 or so, and one of them was 17, and the oldest was Damien Echols, and he was 18 or so. And Damien and they, after 18 years, and through massive pressure from Hollywood, they let them go. They were indicted for the ritual murders of 3 children, and I still can't make my mind up about if they did it, or if they did not did it, and if they did it, did they the documentary filmmakers, like, it seems like they did everything they could to find another culprit, or to put the blame on one of the fathers, and they couldn't get to the first father because he couldn't have done it because he was like out of town or something. So they now have a new suspect, which is one of the fathers of one of the kids. His name is Terry Hobbs, and I can't make my mind up about this stuff, because Damien Echols had a witchcraft coven. He was very much into, he was very much into witchcraft. He had like Crowley's books. He was in a in a mental institute or something like that. And there the patients were scared of him because he used to bite other patients and drink their blood, which was noted on his from his psychiatrist about his behavior. So this guy was obviously a very disturbed young man, to say the least. And still I can't make my mind up about what happened there. Did they do it? Because they were 3 persons and 3 children died? Wouldn't that fit? That alone fit the, one soul for each and so on? No. And he had the books of Crowley. He was very much into witchcraft. He used to walk around with a big wooden like a stick, like Gandalf the Grey had. So this was more than just a little fascination with Metallica, which they tried to use as a defense. That they were singled out because they wore black t-shirts and listened to Metallica. But this was much more than listening to Metallica, in my opinion. So sometimes I still think about this, and they are all free now because of the massive pressure that people like Johnny Depp and so on, the guy from Pearl Jam, Eddie Vedder, and the Dixie Chicks, they they made massive pressure on this little town to reopen the case, and they let them go on an Alford plea, which is something that usually never happens. And an Alford plea means that that basically the people who were convicted say, yes, we did it, and they let them go. Basically that's the Alford plea. So they have to say, yes, we did it, and they can go immediately. And Damien Echols said it in a way that we had to take the Alford plea, because if we had not done it, they would have dragged it out over another 10-15 years. And he was in such bad physical shape, but basically that he always said he was in so much pain and so much physical in such a bad physical condition, he had to get out as immediately. And he told stories that were scripted. So he basically the reporters who came to him to prison, they got questions from him that they were allowed to ask him, and in that way he was, in my opinion at least, and people said that he did that, so, and I believe it, and in that way he was very much able to manipulate these media people. During the time he was in prison, that was 18 years, he was in the death, he was in the death tract, and 12 jurors of Arkansas said they were guilty. So I'm still thinking about that. I don't know why that bothers me, but I would really like to know what happened, because when I watched the first part, where basically the first part of Paradise Lost, the documentary about these things, the first part was basically just cameras in the courtrooms, and it was basically pretty much unbiased, because they were just recording the proceedings in the courtroom and a few questions to people outside and so it was pretty much unbiased. When I watched the first part of Paradise Lost, I was convinced they did it. The second, I was not so sure anymore. The third part, in my opinion, they did a little spin doctoring, and after I watched all the three parts, I was convinced they were innocent. But after I watched the first part, I was convinced they did it. And so in the third part, they paid an FBI profiler to explain what happened there. And he said that, for example, this was not like torture on the bodies, that was animals. The marks on the bodies, that was not torture, so on. But what is it worth, this FBI profiler? Because the official stance of the FBI is there is no such thing as satanic crime. There's no such thing, doesn't exist. Therefore, what is his testimony really worth? Either he doesn't believe in it, or he's actively trying to cover it up. So what is it worth to get this FBI profiler into the picture? Anyway, I'm often thinking about Paradise Lost and Damien Echols. So he now makes videos on YouTube about how to do magical rituals. He's a friend of Johnny Depp and so on. So he became a celebrity after sitting after waiting for like the lethal injection in prison for 18 years in the death tract. And now he's a celebrity. He's a bona fide celebrity, and he lives in Salem, Massachusetts. What a coincidence. Anyway, that was just a thought. So, but it bothers me. I just want to know what's going on here, because when you just watch the first part of the documentary, you're going to be convinced he did it, because he acts like a psychopath. He stands in the courtroom with a mirror and a comb, combing his hair. That's not like a person who is afraid of his life. So, I mean, and even if you're just 18 years old, you should have an inkling that this is important. And he's standing in the courtroom with a mirror in his hand, combing his hair, and he says things like, "When they put me to death, I will be like the Arkansas boogeyman, and parents will say to their children, or children will say, I think Damien Echols is under my bed, or something. So he acts like a psychopath. And in my opinion, he is a psychopath. Anyway, so maybe he changed. I don't know. It bothers me not to know what's going on there. It really is disturbing. And he tattooed his whole body with like sigils and ancient runes. And like secret alphabets and so on. And yeah, so birds of a feather flock together, or whatever the saying goes. So who knows if they just didn't get him out of there because they thought he's someone special or something. Who knows? I don't know. I'm just assuming things here, and it's pretty disturbing that they got out. And one of them, the youngest one, he made a confession. Later they said it was a forced confession, and the police chief in Arkansas said, you must understand that there's a wealth of money behind these three people, and we are a small town police, and there is like a wealth of money behind these people from Hollywood and so on. He didn't say Hollywood, but so he was very frustrated. And it's very easy to say all policemen are corrupt, evil, and so on, but I don't think there was much doubt that they really did that. And there was also eye and ear witnesses that said that they confessed to doing it and so on. And they held rituals in the woods and so on. And he was caught lying again and again and again and again. So it's just it bothers me. Anyway, I wanted to talk about some different things about meditation, which helped me a lot, which I used to do. And I first wanted to explain Zen meditation. So still need a coffee. So I wanted to talk about Zen meditation, different kinds of meditations, and magic. And if there's still time, about some of the NDEs that I heard, which were the most interesting ones. NDEs are near-death experiences. So one of the meditations that is probably one of the easiest, that helped me the most to get some peace again into me, was was mindfulness. And mindfulness basically is that you you take 5 minutes or even less, and you just when you're at work, for example, and you just turn away from the computer for 5 minutes, or you even leave the room. It's not important, but what's important is just realize, just for a few minutes, where am I, who am I, and how do I feel at this moment in my life. And you can even try to see yourself from above, maybe even from above, not only space, but only from above your lifeline, your timeline. So where am I? How am I? And how do I feel? And don't judge yourself. Just observe. Where am I? How am I feeling? Where am I now at this point in my life? Where am I going? But don't attach any feelings to that. Just see yourself. And by doing that, you basically you get an overview again of, because people are so stuck in the now, like I have to do this Excel sheet, I have to finish this email and so on. Just take 5 minutes or 3 minutes when you're working. You don't have to sit in any postures or anything. You just, roll into the empty room with your chair and take 5 minutes, close your eyes, see yourself from above, and ask yourself, how am I? Where am I? And how do I feel? And don't judge yourself, just observe. That alone is very powerful if you do it every day. This can be a very powerful tool to, just see yourself in a different light, because you're so trapped in the now. And I think that's also the book from Eckhart Tolle. It's called Now or something like that. In German it's called Now. So so mindfulness is maybe one of the easiest things to do, and maybe one of the most powerful things that you can do for yourself. So then I wanted to talk about just meditation in general. So I began meditating. I didn't really know much about it, and I sat in the lotus posture, and I think I can still do the full lotus posture with both, like a contortionist basically. So anyway, the goal of meditation is not to empty your mind. That would be Zen meditation, which is a very special form of meditation that the Buddhists do. But real meditation is not about emptying your mind. It's about becoming still and more quiet over time, because emptying or quieting the mind is not possible anyway. According to the Hindu gurus, it's not possible to quiet your mind completely, because something will always pop up. Like when I say to you, don't think about a yellow elephant, you're going to think about a yellow elephant. So it's not possible to empty your mind. So the goal of meditation is to become still, and over time and with patience you will more and more have this what do they call it, this transcendental thing where you stop being inside of your mind and thoughts, and you observe your thoughts from without. But emptying the mind is not possible as far as I know. So the goal of meditation is to become still, quiet, and to breathe deeply, and so on. So, and after some time, you will have this separation of mind and soul, which is called moksha, which means enlightenment. And then you can see that you have a soul. And when you see that you have a soul, then these things become very interesting. So that's basically what meditation is. There's no such thing as you have to empty your mind or something. That doesn't work. You can't empty your mind. Zen meditation is something very specific. And the Buddhists do Zen to they try to you can't empty your mind, so they try to dismiss the flow of thoughts just as general awareness, you could say that. And they try to dismiss this general awareness that's always in your mind, and by that they basically say they have emptied their mind as much as possible. And as far as I know from Mr. Tom Riddle, the Buddhist philosophy is annihilate thyself. The Christian philosophy would be love thyself, love thy neighbor as thyself. So, and I couldn't find it, but there is like a poem where all the world's religions are described by, love your neighbor as thyself, annihilate thyself, and so on. Then comes Islam and all the world's religions. So that's also because it's correct, because I don't think that many people know that about Buddhism, but basically the goal of Zen meditation is to destroy the soul, or to become non-aware of your soul, to limit suffering. in the now and in the after. So, but I don't think that many people know that. So that's Zen meditation. Then there are different mudras that you do, hand mudras. There are many mudras, not just this. You could also do something like this, and this also has a certain energetic effect. It closes and opens energy pathways, and there's also, when you see the politicians doing their gang signs, Angela Merkel always stands like this, and many people always sit like this, and at least in my opinion, that's there are many Masonic gestures, and also from other groups. But basically what these things means, this is the divine masculine, this is the divine feminine. So the upside down pyramid is the divine feminine, and the right side up pyramid is the divine masculine. And basically it's an invocation that they do of these energies by using these gestures, and that's also described in the Bible. People who don't speak with words but with signs and gestures. That's somewhere in the Bible, I can't really remember, but so this has been around for a long time. This hasn't been invented like after World War II or something. So this has been around for a long time. It's even in the Bible described people who speak in signs and symbols. And well, then there are also meditations which for example, Siddhis are in Hinduism. The Siddhis are the basically that's the paranormal abilities, and there are certain meditations that you do to activate these abilities, like for example clairvoyance, opening the third eye, and other cities. So Siddhis. Then there's also one thing that many people don't really understand, that is what the soul means. And the soul, according to the occultists, if you have just trying to draw a little stick figure. So the soul looks like looks like this. At least it should look like this. Usually it does not look like this. Usually it looks like, if you open your third eye and you look at people, most people's soul look like the wavering air over a very hot road. So it looks like evaporating water, something like that. So that's what the soul looks like for most people. It doesn't look like an egg. It should look like an egg. And most so basically it's it's just a wavy thing that goes away, that dissipates constantly, which might be an explanation why the Bible says in the very first in the beginning that people became like 300, 400, 500 years old, and most spiritual ways nowadays massively focus on getting the aura in shape again, and sometimes they call it crystallizing the aura. And because it's so damaged, and many spiritual ways have which are basically not meditations, they are more like qigong, something like that, to crystallize the aura, which also makes you more healthy, more energetic, and so on. But also what people don't know about the aura is that there are many, at least 5 auric bodies that go upward, and the most subtle of them basically reaches to the end of the universe, like when God says we're made in the image of God, we're made in the image of the soul of God. And so, and God is omnipresent, which means He is everywhere. And the same is true for human beings, but it's just that most people don't know about remote viewing and so on. For example, why does remote viewing work? How can you sit in an office building in like Canada and remote view a military installation in Russia and draw it perfectly? And that's only explainable by the omnipresence of the subtle bodies of the soul, according to the occult philosophy. From a quantum physics standpoint, there could be also a different explanation. But so, and all these soul bodies have different names. The what most people call the soul, which looks like an egg around the body, is called the etheric body. And then there is the dharmic body, and the Buddhic body from Dharma and Buddha, and so on. So that's about souls. If you want to know all this stuff in detail, maybe you should go to Damien Echols, because he knows a lot more about that than I do, I think. So, but I'm basically I'm telling my life story and what I learned on the way, and I don't think it's a good idea to be a Satanist. Also because of the near-death experiences that I saw, and I know it's true because when I faded in and out of my body, I also felt the presence of like when you're in sleep paralysis and you wake up, you can't move, you know there is something in the room. That's what it felt like. And if you really die, then you can see them. So, and that's also a reason why you should never open the third eye, because then you can see them too, and you don't want to see them. Guaranteed. Chakra meditations, I talked about that. Nobody that's in the occult does that anymore. It's a stupid thing to do. It's first of all, the chakras are connected to your glandular system. So first off, you could make your hormones go haywire. For example, if you meditate all the time on Svadhisthana, you're going to release a lot of adrenaline, and that's not a good idea to do that every day for years or a month or whatever. So and the other reason is that chakras basically are holes in the astral body and astral parasites attached there. And if you meditate on the chakras or on a chakra, you make the hole bigger and you attract either more parasites or bigger ones, and they suck you dry. So there's even a thing called what's it called? Basically, they take out the chakras, or they close the chakras, or something like that, and you pay a lot of money for that. I can't remember what it's called. It's called something like chakra closing or chakra extraction or something like that. So yeah. Then third eye meditations. First of all, most of them are false. The third eye meditation that worked for me, that was like a long time ago when YouTube was very new and uncensored. Many things you could find, you can no longer find. Like, for example, Fritz Springmeier's talk about 9/11. You can find it. You can find something that's called the same, but it's not the original talk that he held about why 9/11 was a kabbalistic ritual, that numbers in gematria represent spiritual energies. Number 1, World Trade Center 1, which was destroyed, represents the male pillar, which would be the pillar of severity. World Trade Center 2 represents the number 2, represents female, so that would be the pillar of mercy. And to make the number 10, the next building was World Trade Center 7, which was a smaller building, which is the pillar of the middle pillar, which is basically the human body, or the middle of the human body in the Kabbalah. And so you have World Trade Center 1, 2 and 7, which makes the number 10, which is the complete, represents completion or God. So yeah, and one thing, so that's, you can't find that anymore, that's gone. And in my opinion, Fritz Springmeier did not have blue eyes, he had brown eyes, and he talks differently. His body language is different. So just I don't know, maybe they did something to him, I don't know, but that's not the guy that used to speak in these Christian talks about mind control and so on. And could very well be that he's not alive anymore. Who knows? I don't know. I don't even want to speculate. So one thing that I wanted to say was that if you look at the at the Kabbalah, it looks like this, something like this. So, and between the Sephirah, which is the circles, there are these basically these lines, and these lines, they represent tunnels. And on the back side, so in the real Kabbalah, this is female, male, and this is the middle pillar. So this would be the real one, the one that all these celebrities learn, is where they switch the pillars, male and female. So what they are doing is they worship the back side of the tree of life, which is the tree of Set or the tree of death. There's also the Qlipphot, but the Qlipphot is, I know I used these terms interchangeably. I used to use these terms interchangeably, but they're not. The Qlipphot basically begins there, which is the top point, and it goes down. It goes down into hell. This is the Qlipphot. So when you are here, this is Malkut, the earth, where we are, the physical world. When you're here and you're involved in these rituals, orgies, whatever you want to call them, you create enough negative energy that it will push you down after death into the Qlipphot, so which is basically the mirror image of the tree of life. But there is also a backside of this tree, and the backside of this tree, I maybe it's called the I think they just call it the backside of the tree of life. I don't know, but what many people don't know is that these lines, they are tunnels, and on the back side of the tree, you don't want to go there when you die. Believe me, this guy knew exactly what he was talking about. He was not just an illuminist, he was like a teacher for these people. He was like someone who works for celebrities, who he has he even has his very own form of magic, so he doesn't need to do elaborate rituals or something. He just 5 minutes and he done it. He just pushes around energies like it's a card game or something. It's unbelievable. Anyway, so this guy says that on the backside, the tunnels, and there's, according to him, there's only one book about this, which is the book by Lieutenant Colonel Michael Aquino, and the tunnels on the backside are filled with creatures that look like spiders. They are called the Howlers, and they are not called that for nothing, because they trap you, and they torture you, and the scream, you can hear the screams. That's why they call Howlers. And if you ever seen the Matrix trilogy, when they are in the hovercraft in the so-called real world, they are driving through the tunnels there, and there are these spider-like creatures that they run away from, and in the end they capture the ship, and but these creatures in the Matrix, they look like spiders, don't they? And when they drive through these tunnel systems, if you're very observant, you see that it's a kabbalistic movie, and all the ideas are kabbalistic, that there is a chosen one, so on. So the Matrix trilogy is a kabbalistic movie, and the thing about the tunnels on the backside of the Tree of Life, that's only in one book. Or maybe there are books where you pay like $150,000 for. But one guy who knew about it was the high priest of the Temple of Set, Michael Aquino. And the book is, I think it's called The Book of Coming Forth by Night. And there he talks about the Howlers. It's 555. So yeah, so never get involved in Kabbalism. It's extremely dangerous. You have no idea. So another thing that people don't realize when I talk about such things, that in the astral or in sea space, the Kabbalah is a building, like a church. You can go there, and through hundreds and hundreds of years of using this building, this is not like you conjure up something through meditation, like I said, and there's a beautiful house and you go into the house and there's a swimming pool and it is healing water and so on. No, this has been done for centuries. So this thing is a real manifestation in the astral, and that's also one aspect of Kabbalism that probably very few people know, that this exists. So again, it's just every day I have, like, I call it my Bible moments, where like every day I have this several times that I think, wow, that's again a confirmation of what the Bible says. And I have these moments like 3-4 times a day, or more often sometimes. And there's this saying, those who speak don't know, and those who know don't speak, or something. Because the truth is really disturbing, and once you see it, then it's really disturbing. And obviously I think that 99% of people who watch this will think I'm crazy, but anyway, please do so. Please disbelieve me and stay in Wonderland, so to speak, or whatever. The near-death experiences. I've seen a few of them, and I'm just explaining one or two. So there was one from a doctor. He was, I think he even was a surgeon, and he had something. He had to have heart surgery immediately. He had the problem with his heart, and they put him in an ice bath, so that because the operation takes some time, and they had to cool his body temperature down so that he would survive that. And it's a pretty risky thing, but he did it anyway. And the second, they opened up his, so he basically, as he said, he could still hear the voices, and and when they were operating on his heart, he flatlined, and he heard it because he was a doctor himself. He knew it's over now. So so he thought that he would now slip into darkness, and that's it. And he suddenly he was in another place, and he was very astonished, and a voice said to him, "Don't turn around. If you turn around, you have to stay here." And so he confirmed that you cannot see their faces, because once you do, they have to keep you there. And that's also, Jesus never shows his face. To me, because thou shalt not make yourself any images of God, and so on. And if you die and you see them, you have to stay there. So Jesus never shows his face to me. I got some impressions of it, but he never showed his face. So this voice says to him, "Don't turn around, or you will have to stay here." And he had no pain or anything, and it was, according to him, it was not like darkness or he didn't feel a sense of danger. He felt very comfortable, and this voice talked to him. It's like they had a normal conversation, but the operation took so long that at some point they just stopped talking, and after what seemed like an eternity, the voice said to him, "Well, as long as you're here, do you have any questions?" And he was an atheist all his life, this doctor, and he pondered that, and he said he just didn't really know what to ask. And then he had an idea, and he said he asked the most stereotypical question that came to mind, and he said, "What's the meaning of life?" And the answer was laughter. And after he stopped laughing, he said, "It's so obvious. It's love. Love is the meaning of life. Giving and receiving love." And so then they stabilized him, and he came to, and he never forgot that, and he never ever doubted that this was an hallucination or whatever, because when you are on the other side, the other side is more real than this world. And that sounds strange, but it's like the colors are more colorful. I don't know how to explain it. Like red is more red, blue is more blue, love is lovelier, and everything is more intense. It's like this world here is a black and white movie, and the other side is a high definition color film. That's what it feels like. Um, that's what it feels like. So when there was a second near-death experiences, I have several here, but this was also very interesting. But I think that's it would take like 20 minutes to explain, so I am going to talk about that in the next video. It's about an Iraq veteran who accidentally hung himself, and that's but anyway, so it's 6:06 in the morning, and I wish you a wonderful day. I hope you have a good day, and thank you for listening, and till next time.